Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. And it's coming right up. You're going to hear a roar of the crowd, and believe me, you will never, ever forget it. Are you ready? Count it down. Ready? Okay, here we go now. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11.
All right, everybody, let's get on it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Today's abortion at Ford Field as the Lions lose 20-16. Clock just ticked off the last second on a short pass. I don't know how that pass was going to win the game, honestly.
It wasn't.
Was he under a lot of pressure?
It doesn't matter. Did you think Goff was terrible today? I'm sorry. He was bad.
It was not a good game for Jared Goff, to say the least.
Goff, he's still not the quarterback.
That's right.
I don't care what anybody says.
You know, it's interesting looking at this game, though. You have two guys that were picked number one in the draft, Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff, both of whom were completely given up on by their original teams. Jared Goff with the Rams, which I find far more understandable because they made a great trade for them. Ended up in a Super Bowl. And the Lions ended up with some pretty heavy success, too, in spite of today's result. But Baker Mayfield's the one I can't understand. Why did the Browns give up on him? He took them to their first playoff win in 26 years. 1 year later, he was a zero. They hated him. They wanted him gone.
Well, the quarterback gets a lot of blame. He did play poorly. He's much better now. This is the
He
right.
was hurt that last year, though.
Yeah. Listen, they gave up on him, and they got Deshaun Watson now, and I think they'll regret that in time also.
In time.
Well, I think they're winning today.
Yeah,
We're starting before they're done. They're over 18-13 late in the game. I assume is going to win.
I don't think they're real happy with Deshaun.
Especially
I think his sexual assaults are starting to look more evil, too.
Well, maybe that's why they got rid of Baker, because all the Cheesecake Factory stuff, right?
You know, the more wins that
Just got a
accumulate,
blowjob.
the less guilty he is.
But by the way, that blowjob was not forced, the one we heard about from the Rover show.
Just got a blowjob.
No, it was a consensual blowjob.
Well, Deshaun Watson was never convicted of anything.
Well, the latest is kind of weird because a woman invited him over to dinner, and apparently he assaulted her before dinner. But if you knew anything about him, why would you invite him over to dinner or go out with him in the first place?
Well, she didn't know about the other. She didn't know about the other 36 women, or the 24 that actually were part of the suit. Maybe. Anyway, 20-16. Lions famously lost 3 points right before the half when there was a runoff for a penalty when they sent the special teams on the field, when they could have easily grounded the ball with 3 or 4 seconds left. I was kind of surprised by that.
You want to know a stat that's upsetting? The Lions outgained them 463 to 217. Scored 1 touchdown with 463 yards. Goff passed for 324. They ran for 139. Hutch had 4.5 sacks, but they only scored 1
Hutch might be off to that season. You know, we've been he had a great rookie year. He had a good year last year, but it seems like there's a segment of the season where he's a little missing in action. Not missing in action, but just he played really great in a number of games this year. I don't know. He looks pretty unstoppable.
Quick and so unstoppable, and he uses that little spin move that works every single time. And he made some really great plays today, but all for naught, they lose 20-16.
Why? I hate to be so fussy because, generally speaking, I love this team. I love where they're going. I have great confidence in them. I don't know. Somehow I didn't feel great about the last drive. I just didn't feel like they were going to score today, and they didn't. But they do so many times. Why did they not run the ball when they had first down at the 19-yard line or 17-yard line? They threw four swing passes, basically,
which hadn't worked all day.
They got the ball back with 5:12 left or 5:40 left. They got their own 18-yard line, and they moved the ball beautifully. This is the story of this, why they gained all those yards and didn't score. Montgomery, 10 yards in a pass. Raymond, 15 yards. 3rd and 9, Amon Ra for first down. They're moving the ball. It's beautiful. Then Laporta on 3rd and 9 gets to 4th and 1. Gibbs the sweep, gets them down to the 22. They're moving the ball beautifully, but again, they stall. And they lose.
Why 4 short passes? Why not 1 running play? Not one. They just ran for 22. I mean, I know they got stopped at the line quite a few times. It was either break or not break, but
And that 22-yard run was a beautifully drawn up play.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, maybe too vanilla.
And it was a
maybe too
sweep,
safe.
so they were making it work to the outside. Listen, the boy genius Ben Johnson calls the plays. It's hard to really fault him. But there was a lot of stupid stuff that hurt him, like the field goal they missed at the end of the half when Campbell sent the punt team, the field goal team out instead of letting him spike the ball. They passed up a 59-yard or 58-yard field goal that would have made a difference, and the other team got a 55 when they had a when they had 3rd and 22 and they let him make a 15 or 20-yard gain, and the guy hit the 50. So it was just.
can I just say this
one
too?
thing after, what?
They could have had 2 field goals in the last minute of the game. They were down there twice.
Yeah, but they were down 4 points. But
No, I know, but
Yeah.
technically they could have had 2 more field goals.
Well, they could have had another one, too, if it wasn't for that interception where Goff just threw it to the defense.
and
Yeah, now what happened on that play? Because it looks like he had a bet on Tampa and just threw it where there were 3 Tampa guys and no Lions. Now my brain tells me somebody probably cut the wrong way.
Right, 'cause there were 3 Tampa, but the play before that, Ragnow held, which made it a different story. So they just did enough things to
Sloppy.
fuck up the game, even though they gained more than twice the yardage they had. And Goff, 0 touchdown passes. Baker Mayfield was good enough. And Baker Mayfield, where he scrambled for a first down, and then on a quarterback draw, ran it in for the touchdown. So on a day like this, you say, well, they got a quarterback that can run, and we don't. But that's not fair because Goff is a $53 million quarterback, and he just did not have a great
Hey,
game.
Goff can run. You didn't see that,
Yeah, he did have that
that
one.
naked bootleg first down that he ran?
I was actually driving here at that time, but no, I did not see that
that
one.
was a high wire act.
But
If there's one thing I liked about this game is that Dan Campbell ran a fake punt to prove that he's still nuts. He's still a little bit nuts.
4th and 12 on your own, 18-yard line.
It was a wild call.
And
They
then
didn't get any points out of that one either.
You know what's interesting, too, is they're not really getting anything out of their rookies. Last year, the story was, look how great the rookies were. Gibbs and Campbell and Laporta. There was another one, too, that I can't think of right now. That was great last year. Branch. And this year, what do they have? The Vakai caught the, it was a 7th-round draft pick.
Terry Harold got another pass interference. That was great.
In fact, that was the first 3 points they gave up, a 41-yard pass interference.
That was a BS call, though, I
I thought that was a crappy
good call.
call.
No, it wasn't a crappy call. Was it?
What?
It was costly. He was all over him. He grabbed his shoulder.
He was
couldn't
going for
catch
the ball.
Can we review
he
pass
has a right to the
interference, by
ball.
the way? I mean, doesn't it seem like so many times they get it
How
wrong?
long do you want the games to be?
So many times. Amon-Ra looked good today for most of the game. That was a change from the first week, but
10 catches. I was like, he had 10 catches? Really?
Yeah.
Didn't seem like it.
Baker Mayfield outplayed Jared Goff, and I think that's kind of the overall story of the game.
Maz
Missed opportunities.
Maz was the highlight for me because at that final drive there when they showed the big Michigan fan that Mark fawned over, as soon as they cut from him, they cut to Tom Mazaway on TV.
What? They cut to the press box?
No,
There he is.
he had great seats.
Who'd he get those seats from?
I have no idea. He was in the front row popping off at halftime.
Is that
making
him?
some crazy
He's
post.
awfully gray since
It's
I've seen him
Maz.
last.
Are we
Jeez.
sure that's Tom?
That's not him.
Definitely Tom Mazaway.
He wouldn't be sitting there, would he?
Look, that guy's got a bracelet and everything. That's Tom.
And he's holding the
you're
third
right.
down
Good
thing.
eye. Good
Nobody
eye.
else
What a
wears
geek.
bracelets but Tom.
I love Tom.
Oh, he's holding up a 3. Oh, my God.
So,
Eli.
that's so geeky.
Why? He's in
Great
the
catch.
He's
Wait,
holding
what is he, a
up
fan? Is he just a fan?
Yeah.
Gerard, that's an LCD fan. That is a lowest common denominator fan.
Gerard, I didn't know you had tickets to the Lions game.
Yeah, you must have gave him.
I have no idea where he got those seats.
I thought I got them from you.
He made a post at halftime. He was in the front row. I thought he was on the field for a second with 3 other guys who I know he would not recognize in a crowd of 1, and they're popping off about the Lions coming back. It's not aging well at all.
Twice they make it on 4th down on the same drive, but it stalls and they got a punt. So they did a lot of they did good things, but couldn't finish. It's about finishing. And
Yeah,
that's
they're
why-
usually a good finishing team too. Generally, I mean,
Yeah.
the last couple of years.
They just seemed off today.
So
If that makes any sense.
as you know, I'm most interested, beyond whether they win or lose, is how are people going to react? Will there be panic? Will there be calls for Hendon Hooker? For all I know, I doubt it. I'm
Yes.
just saying. Yes.
I'm joking.
What will the fans be saying? What will it be like on talk radio tomorrow?
Well, so far,
All the angry, furious people calling in and saying that who knows what they'll say.
In our small sample size chat, I mean, a lot of the bitching is about the offensive play calling. The play calling was not good.
I have to say, I felt like last year the play calling was absolutely magical, and I don't feel like it's been that magical this year. I just feel like there's a lot of plays where I'm like, I thought they'd run there. You know, and they throw and nobody's open. And there were a lot of times they threw today where I thought they should have run. But, you know, I'm no smarter than the average schmo watching a game. It just felt like they surprised you all the time last year, and they surprised the opponent. And today it seemed like pass, pass, pass until it's obvious you have to run.
Yeah.
And they would either get stopped or they'd get a nice gain. I mean, what were the rushing totals?
Well, they actually had 139 yards rushing. They had 139 yards with the two backs. But
they were all big gains and a lot of nothing.
A lot of short stuff. Last week, in overtime, when they won the toss, and that offensive line behind David Montgomery just pushed the Rams all over the field. They scored in brief amount of time, maybe 2 minutes, and you thought that continued to happen. And I tell you, the Ragnow hold was big.
It was bad, yeah.
Big, led to the end. He's a great player, but it led to the interception. Where Goff really, I don't think any of us have seen an interception where the quarterback had time, and there was no Lion receiver within 15 yards of the ball in the middle of the field. That was just weird.
I agree. I don't know I have no idea what was going on. I can't help it. He either had a bet on the Bucs or he thought someone was headed there.
Well, they had a blitz called, but Gibbs picked it up. I think his arm did get hit a little bit, and I think he thought Tim Patrick, the guy that they got off the trash heap.
Yeah, he seemed to
look like he cut
to the corner
for
instead of over the middle. But even if he had cut to the middle,
you can't throw that ball.
No,
look like Davis Warren.
He had a bet. What are you, Laura Loomer? He had a bet on the Bucs.
Drew.
I don't know. I just
it was that bad.
Must have been that cat he ate before the game.
I've seen him play a lot.
It's very sad. Lion fans are not going to be happy. Let's see if see how the media treats them. But
I think the media will spend a lot of time on Dan Campbell's fuck up because the media loves picking on Dan Campbell because he doesn't go with the flow. He does a lot of crazy shit, and I feel like generally media don't like it when you do that. They think he didn't play the percentages and it didn't work, and this time he just outright fucked up.
And I hate to point to it again, but if it was, and he took blame for it. Somebody said they heard him say maybe at halftime he took blame for rushing the field goal team out there, which blew in. The Branch Tampa's moving at the end of the half. Branch intercepts the ball. They get it back, move brilliantly down the field, using the clock to perfection, and they're right there to get the field goal that would have made it. What was the score at the half?
It would have been 13-9.
Yeah, instead of 13-6. And right there is the difference. Then they could have kicked the field goal and won the game at the end. So you can look. There's 3 or 4 plays that make the difference in any NFL game, and the ones that made for the difference for the Lions were stuff that they don't ever or generally do.
I'm surprised they didn't try the 57 or 58-yard field goal in the fourth quarter because I want to see this guy's leg. So I was kind of. It wasn't a 64-yarder, which he made a 64-yarder, but 57, 58 is supposed to be a guy that can make long field goals.
It seems like all these guys can kick it far now. It's whether you trust him to do in that situation, but they can all reach.
But he's a guy that can kick extra far, allegedly. So they were 27 for 139. Take out Jamo's 15-yard. That's 26 for 124. That's still really good, but I would guess they had 4 or 5 runs that were 15 yards or more, and a lot of short gains, because they did have a drive at the end where I was like, wow, it seemed like a great time to test out the running game. We're running behind the most expensive offensive line, a great offensive line. They put it down their throats last week, and they ran twice and got nothing.
They threw 56 times. They ran the ball 27 times.
And he threw it a lot to the backside of the backfield. He threw it to Montgomery a bunch out of the backfield, and same with Gibbs.
And don't you know that Goff didn't have the greatest first half, so you keep wanting to pick on that. I mean, I know the defensive back, Brandon, you were saying there were a lot of injuries for the Bucs.
Yeah, I think that was the theory going into the game is like 3 out of the 4 starters for the Bucs secondary are hurt, so let's just attack the air game, and that didn't work out too well.
It did in the beginning, but then it didn't, and he just looked off, so stop throwing the ball.
Isn't it strange when the story is that the visiting team, Tampa, comes in with all kinds of injuries on defense the Lions can exploit?
They lost somebody on the defensive line during the game, too. And with that offensive line, I just expect there to be at least one drive where they just plow behind Penny Sewell or whoever and
they
roll
had some
down the
nice
field.
drives. They just couldn't finish him. That's why they gained all those 463 yards for one touchdown. I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. They go
That's insane. I didn't realize the difference was that great.
Yeah.
They go to Arizona next week. I don't know what they're doing today, but they should be able to win there.
Holy shit! Tampa ran 35 plays in that game.
They
ran
never
35 plays. We ran 83.
What's the time of possession?
That's insane.
I know. What's the time of possession? I didn't see that one, but they probably dominated that too.
26 minutes to 34.
I don't know how they had the ball 26 minutes running 35 plays versus 83. Well, we threw the ball incomplete.
That's a lot. Have they ball for 8 minutes more is a lot.
It says 47 total plays, 47 to 83. Oh, my God.
47. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just
They
in the
only
team box
gained
score.
217 yards the whole day.
How do they have 47? I see 19
You gotta score
attempts,
touchdowns.
23 rushes. That's 42. How did I get 37 and how do you get 47?
I'm just looking at the team stats. It says total plays.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if that includes punts or whatever.
Wow. That was a bit of a, could that be a wake-up call for this team?
I don't know.
Whatever that means.
I think so.
It
I
is
think it
always-
shows Dan Campbell needs to use Sam Laporta in the passing game a little bit more.
He has been mysteriously absent the tight ends in general.
Well, I looked at him on a couple big plays, and there were a lot of bodies around him. So, I mean, he's not a secret anymore. But you think between him and Amon-Ra and Jamison Williams, people would be more open than the amount of times we had to throw to the backs today. There were a lot of secondary and tertiary choices, and they weren't terribly successful either. I mean, 307 yards on 34 completions is not great.
The second leading receiver was Gibbs with seven catches. And Montgomery had 4.
I think Detroit needs this team to do well because college football around here sucks.
What are you talking about?
Where are the Lions next week, by the way?
Lions are at Arizona.
And they're currently beating the Rams.
How did Michigan only win by 10 at home against Arkansas State?
Because Michigan is awful, and the experts were too chicken shit to see what we all saw, that they lost 13 draft picks. They lost their coach. They got a rookie coach. They got a rookie quarterback.
They got a lot of good defensive players back, though.
True, but
Well, they are bad. Those 15 points in the fourth quarter that Arkansas State scored, I mean, those are just garbage points. I mean, all the third string, second string were in for. Not that you should allow those points against Arkansas State. They should have blown them out even more.
In this day and age, when you are winning the national championship, and you'd think that every great player, or a lot of them, would want to come here, and they go with a walk-on quarterback, and that's the best they can do. It's just, it's
I got to tell you, I'm worried about the coaching. I was telling Eli before the game, there's 3 positions on offense that it's like, I don't know why those people are the starters. Quarterback, I don't know why Warren's the starter. Running back, Mullins is by far a better running back than Donovan Edwards and has been for, 2 years now. And their center has been ever since they put Crippen and the running game started going again. So it's just, do they not know these players? And poor tackling and drop balls, that's all coaching.
right.
Well,
That's why I'm worried about them.
to an extent, but how do you not know how to tackle 1 year later after winning a national championship? I mean, they got a lot of good players back.
They're letting
Good teams know how to tackle.
Yeah.
And as far as the quarterback, I'm still perplexed. I hear people answer this question. I'm never satisfied with the answer. How can they not have a better choice at quarterback? How is that possible? That you would be, they were in the playoff 3 years in a row. Wouldn't lots of quarterbacks want to come to Michigan?
Well, they have an Elite 11 recruit who's a freshman, Jaden Davis, Eli.
Right.
I don't know
What
why.
about last year?
Well,
What do you mean, what about last year?
Why didn't they sign a good quarterback
And what's
last
wrong with
year?
Jack Tuttle? He's
Well,
a
they did.
fifth-year player.
Well, Tuttle's injured. He's coming off injury still.
I've heard he was coming back. But
Yeah, he is.
I'm not hearing a satisfactory answer to my question.
What's your question?
Orgy
My question
can't
is, how
pass it
can they
all.
not have a better quarterback than what they have?
They got a freshman in who's a 5-star, allegedly.
Right. No, I mean, how can they not have someone ready to play day one of this season who is a good quarterback?
Why didn't they get somebody? Why didn't they get someone from the portal? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying, how do they not have a good quarterback, period? Recruit, portal, redshirt, I don't care how. How can they not have a good quarterback? They've been in the playoff 3 years in a row.
Well, maybe they thought that Orgy was better than he is, that he could throw the ball, but he can't.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought that
They've had 2 years to evaluate him. That's a pretty big flub.
Maybe they thought Tuttle wasn't going to be injured too. I mean, the reason they didn't get
Who's Tuttle, a 7-year guy or something?
Yeah.
By the time
This is not a good answer. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to give you an answer. By the time they won the national championship, which was when by March, where the hell was that? It was middle of January. All the good ones were gone.
Oh, so that's when you go, oh my God, there's no quarterback for next year. We didn't think about this last year or the year before. It's crazy. Holy shit.
Well,
They're not able to plan with any proficiency ahead more than after the championship game?
You have a coach who knows he's going to the NFL. He doesn't know where he's going to go, but he knows he's leaving.
Okay, that's a good answer, that the coach didn't take care of business.
He didn't.
Harbaugh didn't. He absolutely did.
Okay, that's a good answer.
He wasn't even there. He
told
was
you that before.
suspended the last 3 games of the season.
Yeah.
I still don't know how it's possible they wouldn't have a better option, or one of these guys is better than they're playing, or I don't know.
Well, clearly they're both worse than what they thought they would be.
Where the hell is Arch Griffin? Not Arch Griffin. Arch Manning when you need him.
Hey, you mentioned Tuttle's 9th year, whatever he's in now. I was watching.
I think it's his 7th.
I was watching Washington State, the Apple Cup, because everybody watches the Apple Cup. And I saw Giles Jackson scored a touchdown. Do you guys remember Giles Jackson?
The name sounds familiar.
He had a touchdown against Ohio State in 2019 for Michigan.
Really?
And this is his 4th year at Washington. He had 2 years at Michigan. So this is his 6th year.
Well, COVID years.
No, I know. It's just weird. It's a guy you haven't thought about in 5 years.
The whole game, and I'm going to go beyond Michigan to say college football is a total mess. In fact, it's professional football now run unprofessionally. It's professional, unprofessional football. The NFL is professional football. There are rules, there are agreements, there are salary caps. People know where they stand. It's a system that they've negotiated, and it works. This is a total mess, and it's been for 2 years now. And I used to think, like last year, that made it more interesting. I guess now that Michigan sucks, and so many other. I mean, Georgia won 13-12 last night over Kentucky. I watched that one aghast. Florida State is 13-0 last year. Now they lose the bowl game 63-3, and they're 0-3. So it's a total mess, and it's stuck in limbo because they can't settle whole.
It's not a mess.
It's a mess. Come on,
messy.
man.
What is a mess about it? It's still a great product.
I like Eli's statement that it's a professional product that is unprofessional.
It has been for decades.
In fact, now it's accepted, or it's known you have to break the rules, and if you don't break the rules, which means to offer recruits incentives with NIL, which is against the rules, but everybody follows it.
Isn't that? I thought that was within the rules now that you could.
It is because they've lost. The NCAA's lost every lawsuit, and now they had this big settlement in the
2.8
in the House
NIL,
case, and the judge looked at it and goes, well, "You can't take money off the table that." You can't decide that this is how much a group gets without them bargaining for it.
Of course.
They're just delaying it and delaying it and delaying it when the obvious answer is there's going to be a union. They're going to collectively bargain for things. They'll have to give up
employees.
They'll have to give up some power to the universities. I mean, it's the best time to be a college athlete right now.
What a mess.
And you've got guys that are illiterate. It's always been that way, but at least they weren't. You got guys that are totally illiterate. They obviously don't belong in school at all. In fact, it's college football in name only. It's not college football anymore. How about Aiden Childs? Now, he could be a fine quarterback for Michigan State, making $1.5 million at age 18. That's okay. He deserves it. But, there's only certain schools that can pay him. It's ridiculous.
I don't see players having to take class eventually. Why should they have to go to class?
Exactly. It's college football in name only. In fact, I don't know. Maybe it should be called professional football that takes place in college towns, because.
Well, I think that's one of the things the universities want, right? They want to still make them go to school, but you can't make them do stuff unless you bargain with them to give them money, right?
Yes, and you can't make a kid who you had to pump up his grades just to get him into college because he's a football player, and he can't handle college curriculum, nor does he want to, nor should he, because that's not what the game is anymore.
I mean, some guys will go to class, I'm sure, but a lot of guys will go, fuck that, I don't want to do that. When I was at Virginia Tech, most of the football players, they weren't even that good. They were an independent that was like a 500 team. They didn't give a shit about school.
Of course not.
That was in 1978.
I told you. I said to Gibby years ago when we were doing our show, what did you major in anyway? He laughed. I majored in eligibility. I took what they told me to take. God.
No, it was embarrassing then. It's really weird. It's bizarre.
But so last year before the season started, Nick Saban, who realized he was going to have to leave because He's a recruiter. He was the best recruiter. In fact, I bought the book, the Armin Katayan book. Yeah,
It's
and the
really,
first chapter is
really
about
great.
Saban,
Yep.
and it was terrific. And he was the best recruiter in the country, worked tirelessly. And he said before the season started that Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M bought every player on his team, which was basically true.
There's
And
a
you-
great
because
chapter.
you're allowed to.
There's a great chapter later in the book about the rise and fall of Jimbo Fisher. So it just goes to show you still have to coach no matter how much money you throw at these guys.
Michigan
What's the
State.
fall? Because he lost. He made a ton of money.
Who?
Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, his bio was what, 75 million?
Yeah.
It was Mel
I
Tucker-esque.
don't know if I call that a fall.
Well, he was
Didn't he win a national championship too?
in Florida State in
Yeah.
2013 and then rubbed everybody the wrong way and everybody hates him. And he seems incredibly thin-skinned.
Everybody hates me.
Yeah, like let me just put it this way: Florida State was ecstatic when Texas A&M came after him. Ecstatic.
Why does everyone hate him?
Because he's an asshole. He is a gruff, thin-skinned asshole. It's a really interesting chapter. There's a big crux of that chapter is how a reporter on a message board named Slice Bread, that was the name on the message board, put out pretty factually how much they were paying each player with NIL.
Yeah.
And he could not let that go. He would constantly bring that up to people, that this guy on the message board, and that's not true, and this is not true, because he took it as a slight to his coaching. Now, he got all these guys, the best recruiting class of all time 2 years ago, and they shit the bed because he had no interest in coaching. And then, you know, you talk about Saban or Kirby Smart, where these guys just are so intense.
Why would he have no interest in coaching? I mean, that's absurd.
Because he already reached the mountaintop, and he feels like he should have been considered, you know, a great coach, and people will come to him because he's a great coach, and he doesn't need to go out and recruit.
Sounds like Monty Williams. Sounds like Monty Williams took the $72 million from Tom Gorse to come coach the Pistons. He didn't
kind
want to
of, in a
coach.
way, yeah.
He didn't want to coach.
I have to tell you,
So
I would
fickle,
think
man.
it would be so hard to be a name college football coach like a Nick Saban or Jim Harbaugh or one of the big names and have these seniors and juniors in high school and their parents telling you how much, he needs to get this, he needs to get that, these people are offering him this. You're talking about real money, and I would just think it would be very difficult. And eventually, I think you're going to have NIL in high school. I think high school players are going to be paid.
Well, they can
Are
be
they
paid.
making money
Oh,
already?
yeah, their high school
and
players
then
make
you'll
a lot
have
of money.
eighth graders who they have to kiss their ass to go to their high school.
You know, for 120 years, college football had this method of this system that they created themselves that made a mockery of free enterprise and also the ethos of college football, which is that the players should actually be students. So they got away with that for 120 years. They got caught with their pants down when the NIL laws came into effect finally 3 years ago, and nobody can figure out what to do. So it isn't
they
college,
let
it isn't pro, it's a big mess.
They let it be the Wild West.
Wasn't NIL silly? The idea that, hey, you guys pay them. Fuck you. Why should everyone else pay them?
I think what
that's
they got.
ridiculous.
I think what they got caught on
The lawsuit was NIL. It was NIL was what the courts ruled.
That's a
That was
lawsuit,
the one
but
that was.
that doesn't mean that's how they have to do it, though.
No, but what they got caught with, Drew, is they thought it would be legitimate NILs, like you know, hey, your car dealership wants you for an ad.
Really?
That's
the
what
Wild
the
West.
NCAA hoped, and that's what they thought. And now that's part of their thing. They're fighting
pretty
for.
naive, I would say.
They're fighting for control over what they consider to be legitimate name, image, and likeness deals. Which who the fuck who determines that?
No.
Who determines what's legitimate and what's not? It's
You
just
end up with Mike Morris doing Mike Morris law commercials.
I know you guys talked about it the other day, but the whole.
But that's legit. That's a legitimate NIL. I'm talking about somebody that just
But
donates
that's embarrassing.
money.
You should be paying that fucking guy. You shouldn't have to go be a voice for Mike Morris, the ambulance
You know what you
chaser.
should do? You should be able. You should be able to do both. Period.
Yes. Right, but if you're not being paid a reasonable amount of money, which you are owed because they're making a shit ton of money off you, of course you're going to go chase any money you can get. You're not going to care. Do you think what's her name, Angela Reese, gives a shit about her 21 sponsors or Angel Reese?
Yeah. No. No, they are. You know what?
take money from anyone.
Those sponsors don't care, though. Apparently,
There's no way they can.
will.
There's no way they can pay the players themselves until they create a system that somehow works. So
And
you
they
can't-
always
you
said,
can't-
"Oh, but that's impossible. How would we pay? We'd have to pay this guy more than that guy. We'd pay everybody this. How would we do it?
That's
How does
right.
anyone do it?
That's right.
Really?
You figure out
it's
how.
that
You
hard.
but part of the settlement is they allow what 21% to go to the players, and it's like, yeah, but
Oh, that's a nice figure. It's somehow you
they
end
don't
up on the
know-
low side instead of the high side.
Exactly.
That's
They didn't
weird.
put
No, 20 million isn't enough because right now there's teams that make
21%, yeah.
Okay, but it can't. What was
and it's capped, and they want to cap
capped
it.
at
which is
22 million a
stupid.
team. There are teams now like Ohio State that are already paying 20 million. Oregon State
Yeah.
is paying more than 20 million. So you're going to settle with people who are making
That's-
more money than your settlement is going
That's
to be.
what's hilarious about it. That 20 million would still be there from collectives. So
And the NIL thing isn't going to be because you got guys like Braylon Edward and Denard Robinson, and I don't blame them. There's going to be suits piling on because what is it? The statute of limitations? Why
I
they
think
can't
so.
pay it because they play before.
Why should the
2016?
guy this year make $6 million and you made nothing 20 years ago?
That's right.
ridiculous.
Exactly.
Well, but why
because
does-
the law didn't
why did-
change? Because they had you over
Why
a
should
barrel.
the guy 6 years ago make, I don't know,
Why does that?
$200,000?
But what
You
does Ohtani make
nothing.
$1 billion and they didn't have free agency before 1970?
Yeah, but Ohtani could have made money when he was that
On
age.
top of what you're saying, you're going to go all the way back. Why not play the guys that are dead that played in the 40s and 50s, give their estates money because they didn't get NIL back then either.
Well, I will say this about that, is that the money in college football has gone up astronomically because at some point, and I want to say it's probably in the mid-'80s, early '80s, all of a sudden they said,
Right.
money is the only thing that matters. We'll play anytime, anywhere. And then all of a sudden, all your games are on TV.
Well,
all these deals are
there was a Supreme
huge.
Court.
And-
There was a Supreme Court ruling because the NCAA said only this school can be on that many times. And once that Supreme Court ruling was over, it was a free for all.
When I was at Michigan
Next
and Bo Schembechler was the coach.
Oklahoma, yeah.
Michigan got on one time a year against Ohio State. They were only allowed to show one game a week?
Yeah, and then I think Oklahoma sued.
Yeah,
over
but
it.
that's over. That did a long time ago.
I know.
But we still don't pay people because they're amateurs. And just, look at all the remember when none of the Olympians made any money? And remember how that started to fall, that started to crumble, and then all of a sudden, but here's football. So, oh, no, we can't pay people. College basketball, all this money is just flowing in billions of dollars. And still, oh, no, it just wouldn't be right to pay people. In fact, they can't even have a job on the side.
Not only that, but all the money went to the universities and the coaches. But since TV paid them so much money, they were now making players who were supposedly students playing on Thursdays and Fridays and
Tuesdays.
traveling from coast to coast. Now you got kids, allegedly
action.
students, flying from UCLA to Maryland, for days at a time. But we love the game.
It is great, isn't it, man?
There's still some
There's
good
nothing
games on.
better than a Saturday.
LSU South Carolina was a good game, I'll
It's
tell you
a
that much.
great game. There were a lot of great games.
And Arch Manning, I just saw highlights, but wow, that was something else.
Well, of course,
Ridiculous.
they're playing
So
University
what?
of Texas at San Antonio. So they're playing
I
Little
know,
Sisters.
but
I don't care, man. That
he
was-
still was outrunning their defensive backs. He's fast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Runs well. I didn't know Arch Manning ran well.
Yeah, I didn't know any Manning could run.
That 67-yard run.
Cooper was a wide receiver, right?
But Archie Manning ran
Ran
very
well.
well.
Yeah.
So
And
he apparently got Grandpa's running genes.
If you
Skips a
watch
generation.
if you watch Arch's 9 out of 12 passing, he never had to move out of the pocket. They put no pressure on him, so you really
And
can't
he's got
tell.
good receivers,
And
too.
we
Lingo.
should talk about Michigan State, which beat Prairie View, what is Prairie View? That's the black colleges.
That's the cast of a TV show in the 70s. Is it Little House on the Prairie View or something? I seriously, I'd never heard of Prairie View.
Yeah, you
No?
have.
Oh, sure.
I don't
Remember
think I
they had
had.
didn't they have like a famous losing streak?
Yeah, they're down with Grambling and all those
Yeah.
historically black
Really?
colleges.
I don't ever remember anyone. I don't remember Virginia Tech ever playing them, Michigan ever playing. I don't remember the Big Ten ever playing.
I'd heard of
Prairie
it though.
View.
There were a couple guys might have made the NFL back in the old days. They won 40-0. I think their comeuppance is going to happen at Boston College, which is surprisingly good. They were beating Missouri, who's 6th in the nation, until the end of the game, near the end of the game, in Missouri yesterday. And Michigan State has to go there. But I think Michigan State is potentially a much better team than Michigan this year.
Possible.
I
Yeah.
said that last week. You totally
Well, we'll
disagreed.
see.
Now you're saying possible. Okay.
We'll see you on October the 26th, won't we?
I tell you, I got to stop looking at this because people are commenting about me. Yes, I do have a Blackhawks.
Eli needs to get a room with the
You're right.
spawn of Bo Schembechler.
You're right.
Big Bo Schembechler.
Because I don't
Someone
like
loves
red
the
hats.
passion in your voice. Drew, keep it up, man. Eli on Sunday, Monday. Check mark.
I love that they added Bo back to the boner video before the game. They had a nice mention of James Earl Jones too before they showed the video. The crowd went ape shit for James Earl Jones.
We are the greatest university in the world.
I would love to be in the meeting where they decided to put Bo back in the video. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Oh, yeah. Don't they still do the team? They do.
That's how it ends. Yeah, it ends with.
They took him out for a couple of years.
They did.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, because of Dr. Anderson and his black and white evil photo.
Well, we should talk about the Tigers, right? They're doing well. They lost today 4-2 to the Orioles.
They won
I'm
today.
sorry, they lost last night 4-2. They won 4-2 today. Riley Green a couple of homers. So they're 77 and 73. Minnesota lost.
No,
they
today
won.
Minnesota was up big.
So they're still 2.5 back with about 14 or 15 to go.
Yeah, but they're on a 22-9 run.
They're amazing.
So deep in the season and winning 2 out of 3 from Baltimore.
And how about, was it Friday night that Brant Herter went from 1 out in the second to the 9th inning with a perfect, or I think he walked perfect.
Well, he left in the 8th, 7th, I think.
Here's a guy, although I hate that phrase. Here's a guy.
Here's a guy.
Guy I know.
Talk about a guy. Brant Herter.
This is a guy.
Brant Herter had a 6.44 ERA in AAA after giving up 9 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings on July 21st. 6'6" lefty. He had no rhythm, so the AAA pitching coach, and you got to give it the Tigers, they got 2 pitching coaches, this Chris Fetter up here and Doug Bachler down in AAA. And so he gave Herter a little rocking motion, apparently, to start his windup. And he's in rhythm, and he's pitching amazing. He's 6 foot, a 6'6" lefty with great movement on the ball. So, who knows about this team? They could do it. 2.5 out with 14 or 15 to go.
Yeah.
They've been playing with 2 starting pitchers and now 3 starting pitchers for a month and a half.
Yeah.
They started Bo Brisky 2 days in a row, yesterday and today. I mean, this is insane, but it's working, and I think A.J. Hinch deserves a lot of credit. Really, the way
He
he's managed
does.
the
This
staff.
whole opener stuff is amazing.
They're still a 235 hitting team.
Yeah.
And somehow they've won 22 out of 32 games.
Don't they have like the lowest ERA for the last month or so? Or
Second
close
half
to
of the
that?
season, they're number 4 in the league. They're only like a tenth of a run behind number 1, I believe, or a couple tenths. No, the pitching's been great.
I don't know what Seattle, but they're tied with Seattle.
The Seattle plays tonight.
They're tied with Seattle for the final playoff spot.
Did the Twins lose today?
No, they won
won
big.
today.
Oh,
They
fuck.
came back
Cincinnati.
and won big, but now they have to go to Cleveland.
Tigers have Kansas City.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, I mean,
don't
they're
play
at
that
Cleveland.
well.
We're at Kansas City. So
And then we got to go to Baltimore. It's not. I don't know why people thought this was such
we
an
own
easy
Baltimore
schedule.
because we end with Chicago.
I know that's nice, but you still had to play Baltimore 6 times.
They've beaten them 2 out of 3 now. It's pretty good.
Yeah. No, amen.
Pretty good.
If
And
they-
Riley
if-
Green is another great day today.
If they win every series 2 out of 3, average. I mean, is that enough? Do you think?
If Minnesota
if
would
they go
have to
6,
play,
6, 6?
they would have to play under 500 ball. I mean, they'd have to go like 5-9 or something, I think, for the Tigers to be able to get away with that.
Well, what is there? I wonder what their schedule looks like.
Take a look at it.
Oh, well.
I think it was similar. But it is nice to have the 3 at the end with the White Sox, because if you get within a game with 3 to go, just like the Tigers in 2009 when they blew it,
Yeah.
never know.
Couldn't you see them going there and just needing to win 1 and getting swept or something ridiculous?
Yeah, I can see that
I
happening.
don't know why. Maybe that's just me. Okay, the Twins, they go to Cleveland for 4 games, so there's that half game, right?
Yeah.
And then they're at Boston, which
That's not easy.
no,
They're fighting.
Miami
They
at
were.
home, and then they end with Baltimore at home.
That's tough.
So if we can keep it within 3, 2.5, 3 going in that final series, there's a
Wouldn't
big
it be
chance.
amazing if they go into the playoffs using this whole opener thing where they're pitching?
Yeah.
Each guy's. Can you imagine the purists around the country
Good.
saying, "Where's Mickey Lolich going 3 complete games? Where are the starting? Jack Morris pitching 9 goes all the 120 pitches."
You've got a lineup to face Bo Brisky, a righty, and then you bring in a lefty in the second inning. I mean, that's pretty weird.
That's great.
Meanwhile, the Tigers are putting 7 lefties in the lineup against a righty who's going to try and go 6 innings. But I got to tell you, if the Tigers just had a right-handed batter too, it would be such a difference maker.
They don't have the core built yet. This has been fun. This has been a little catnip. This has been exciting.
They've got a mini core.
Who's in the? We did this the other. I don't want to repeat. what I
Riley
said.
Green.
Riley Green's in the core.
Gary Carpenter. Parker Meadows.
Oh, you think he's proven now? Okay.
Look at him after his 7 for 77 start.
Just understand he's 23 years old and he's got less than a full year in the major leagues.
I agree.
So,
Gary Carpenter has less than 1,000 at bats too. Yeah. I mean, they're really young, but I think Parker Meadows, he's so fast.
Tell me
he's so good in center field.
Outside
and he's hitting the ball.
Outside of Scooble, tell me your other core players that are going to be here in 5 years from now.
Well, I would
Torkelson?
I love the lefty Holton. I love him.
Yes.
I would not let him go.
He's a good closer. And Foley's good too. They do have two.
Cole Keith is I think he's got a fine rookie.
Yes, he's a rookie though. You're right.
But that's
so
four
he's a
offensive
rookie.
players
Parker's
right there.
a rookie. Young is a rookie who's starting.
Young and Sweeney are probably part of it.
Minor league, but they'll be part of it in 3 years if they continue to progress. But they're not there yet.
The sample size is very small, but Sweeney's hit 4 home runs and 70 at bats.
Who are they?
He's had some big hits for him. I don't know if he's really part of the core. I don't have the roster in front of me, but believe me, there's a bunch of other pitchers. Foley's a great pitcher. Yeah. Will Vest has pitched fantastic.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
He's been really good all year, honestly. As far as starting pitchers, though, whether Casey Mize is that guy, I don't know.
And Montero is not. He did pitch 5 shutout innings today.
He's got 14 straight shutout innings. I mean, he's pitched very well. Whether he's a part of the core, I would not say he's definitely part of the core, but.
Who's the third start besides Scooble and Montero? Who's Mize is back.
Mize is the third starter.
Yeah.
And then Reese is part of the core, but why Reese can never pitch? I don't. He was on the 10-day disabled list.
Let's define what a core player is. A core player is a proven player who is has had at least 3 years in the major leagues and has shown some consistency. And that's a core player.
But you're talking about building. You're talking about building a team. You're not talking about a proven core. That's a different thing entirely.
They're built because we're talking about them as a playoff team. And
I don't think they're going to the playoffs. But I just say as a building for the future, I think they have a few nice pieces.
Yes, they do.
That's all.
They show nice potential. They're better than a lot of other teams in the league too. We've really been remiss. We have not talked about the WNBA or Caitlin Clark in weeks. What is wrong with the show?
Reviewed injuries.
I don't bring it up. Nobody will ever bring it up.
Are they still playing?
Caitlin Clark sold, in the day they were released, sold every one of her signature basketballs with Wilson, sold out in less than 40 minutes, tens of thousands of them, between $25 and $100. I went online and said, well, what else are they selling for her? So I go online for Caitlin Clark merch on Amazon. There's something called the Blaster Box. I'm not sure what that is for $60. I think it's got like signed cards and maybe, I don't know, there's some Caitlin Clark shit in there. There's a decal, officially licensed decal to put on your water bottle or your laptop for $15. There's a motivational poster. There's an $80 mint rookie card.
How about tampons?
A menstrual cup.
Menstrual cup.
Reusable menstrual cup.
Dental dam.
Oh, God.
Vibrator.
Pregnancy tests.
Chapstick.
All right, hey, Father Time takes a toll on all of us.
Yeah, thanks.
We need discipline to fight off old age by trying to live right, but you'll need no discipline to see right if you let Dr. Yaldo change out your poorly performing lenses with technologically perfect Clearview implantable lenses. No more readers, glasses, bifocals, or contacts, along with 20/20 vision both near and far for the rest of your days. In a matter of 10 or so painless minutes, the Clearview replaces your natural lenses, allows you to see the small stuff and read the tiny type like you did decades ago. Hard to wrap your head around never needing glasses, contacts, or readers again, but it's true. He continues his 20% off the Clearview lens through September. Dr. Yaldo does, as well as custom LASIK for $14.99 an eye. Lowest price in the market, and it's no matter what your prescription might be. Go to YaldoEyeCenter.com, sign up, and let Dr. Yaldo help you see like an eagle.
Hey, get out of here.
Hey, did we ever talk about Tyreek Hill, by the way? I can't remember if last week we talked about it.
We didn't. You guys talked about it a little bit. I looked at the video, and yes, they shouldn't have forcibly pulled him from the car. But, when I used to get stopped by the cops, of course I had weed in the back, so I had to be very careful anyway. But
he does too.
But the thing is to be polite. I call him officer. Officer. Officer, yes, I was probably going over the speed limit. You agree. you cooperate. What
when
is
you're speeding by a
what
light-
is the point of arguing?
Stop knocking on my door.
Quit banging on my window. Quit banging on my window. As if he didn't want people to see that it was him, his fans driving by. Fuck you. You shouldn't have sped. So
He also has tinted windows, so you can't see in the car.
It's just. Although they and the Danny Torres has been suspended or fined or whatever 6 times for excessive use of force.
That's what I find interesting is that people are still trying to say that Tyreek Hill. Oh my God! Look what they did to him. No, he did a lot of it to
asked
himself.
for it. He asked. This is. I'm sure. Well, you guys are married, so you know. Your wife is upset, and you're trying to be calm. Then as soon as you raise your voice, you're screaming at me. You see, and so you just when somebody taunts you,
Speak for yourself.
when somebody taunts you, like he did the cop, you're going to have a problem.
Oh, he's a complete asshole.
Total asshole. And I'm surprised that so many people defended him over the police who overreacted, but they should have never had a chance to. When they said get out of your car, if he had just gotten out of the car, officer, would you like me to get out of the car, or am I okay right here?
I just want to say this
polite.
about
Just be polite.
The police is that when people pull I know my rights. I don't have to put my window down. I don't have to give my license. I mean, they face all kinds of. There's so many people now who know more than the police, who say I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. Usually, they will spend more time than I would have the patience for before they drag them out of the car. So I thought they prematurely may have done that. I didn't think the police were without fault, but I thought he completely escalated it.
How can you give somebody with a gun and a badge who can arrest you, how do you give them shit? Why do you do that? Unless you're being so egregiously dealt with that you have to say something.
Well, he says, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? I could have been shot. But they always go to that, or he goes to that immediately. A lot of people go to that.
He would not have been shot. That's ridiculous.
But I noticed that...
I thought they said goodbye to me. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to ask if we'd even talked about it.
We did.
No one, as upset as people are at the police, no one seems to want to bring up the woman with the broken leg who says her leg was broken when they had contact in his backyard playing practice football, which it sounds, according to the woman, she says, I embarrassed him because he was demonstrating, he's trying to fuck her. He invited her for the weekend to hang, even though he's married. And she was going to spend the night, or spend 2 nights there.
That stopped him before.
No, of course not. And he was demonstrating something, and she knocked him down. She's 6'3", by the way. She's a plus-size influencer. She's very pretty, too. She's not like she's a slob, although some would disagree. Anyway, he got up and very angrily tackled her. She says violently. She broke her leg. It needed a metal rod implant.
God.
And his mother is about to be deposed in this. His mother, by the way, Tariq just gave her a Tesla and a Chrysler 300, her dream cars. And also, Tyreek now says she tripped over a dog. Actually, he hasn't said this. He said something else. But now his lawyer is saying she tripped over a dog, and I expect his mother will say the same thing. His mother, by the way, is in legal trouble herself because she kicked a woman out of her car who was her friend. Then she dragged her back in the car, slapped her.
Which one?
Tyreek's mother.
No, which car?
The Tesla.
The Tesla, okay.
Yeah.
Chrysler 300's her dream car? Okay.
And broke her necklace, so she is in her own legal trouble. But why do people give Tyreek Hill the benefit of the doubt? I would think.
Drew, have you seen him on the football field?
He's really good.
You would immediately assume that he had something to do with it because he has something to do with everything.
Have you watched him catch a ball and run? I mean, the guy's amazing.
Yeah, he went 3rd overall in my fantasy draft.
By the way, not only has his mom been subpoenaed, so has his sister and 2 other members of the entourage.
Yeah,
so
that's all that was there.
I imagine there's a group chat getting their story straight right now.
And she's also wants pain and suffering because Tyreek wouldn't call 911 and also wouldn't take her to the hospital and force her to lay down with ice for 8 hours before she got any medical treatment, and she ends up needing a metal rod implant in her leg. I mean, he fucked her up. God. Whether it was playing around or he did it because he was mad at her, she said that she embarrassed him. She said his mother and his siblings were laughing when she knocked him down. And apparently he didn't think it was so funny.
This is, I hate to say it, but it's so simple. It's just bad parenting. Terrible parenting.
Well, his kid also set the house on fire with a lighter. His 4-year-old.
When you see, when you see
well, there's
violence in
bad
your house, you're
parenting
going to
gene.
be a violent person.
We don't even know how many kids he has. It's alleged he has 10, but it's a question mark. You cannot find a definitive number.
Brandon, the real question is, how many touchdowns did he have last year?
Ooh, he had a lot. He was fast.
And you know the car he was
One
driving?
per kid, 10.
He was driving a $600,000 McLaren. He gave his mom a Tesla that was. How does this guy still have all this money?
God, he must,
10 kids?
He makes that's an interesting question. He's got plenty now. He's making 20. It's very hard. It's very hard to spend $25 million a year. You can try, but it's very difficult to do. Allen Iverson did it, but not too many other people I've seen.
I have a feeling he's going to have financial problems. I just have a feeling. I could be crazy because he's not. Is he really an endorsement-friendly guy? Not terribly, I wouldn't think.
I mean, if you're a
Beat
car
the shit
company,
out of a pregnant girl. He broke his kid's arm.
Yeah, isn't that why he left Kansas? He was with Kansas City, and wasn't he with Kansas?
He allegedly broke his child's arm.
They decided to do better and get Rashee Rice instead.
That's right.
I mean, baby steps for the Chiefs,
Meanwhile,
all right?
I didn't bring this up. Did you hear that another Georgia football player was arrested for driving too fast? I don't know.
Yes, another one.
106 miles an hour but really, you got to give him a break. It was 106, but he was also in an unregistered vehicle without a license plate, no proof of insurance. His seatbelts weren't on.
What is going on down there?
And he had materials affixed that reduced the visibility of his windows. But he had to post bail. You ready for this? $50, $10 per charge. But Kirby Smart, the Georgia coach, he says, we demand discipline. He's withholding NLI funds, and he says, you've got to have discipline. Yeah, right.
Wait, how can he withhold NIL funds?
That's his 25th, I think, since as well as the Jalen Carter double death driving escapade.
I still maintain they don't have to put up with these assholes.
Yes, they do.
I mean,
they do.
You can't kick 25 guys off a team, but you could at least kick the 3 worst assholes off the team. The NFL doesn't need Deshaun Watson. The NFL doesn't need Tyreek Hill. They really don't.
So I'm going to bring it back once again to Kirby Smart and all those big recruits he brought in. Boy, did he have trouble with them breaking curfew and smoking weed and breaking every rule that the team had. So he felt he had to discipline them, but he couldn't discipline them nearly as much as some of the other guys. So you can bring in all the talent you want. You still have to be able to run your program. And Kirby Smart can. That guy's pretty damn good, man.
Hasn't he won 28? Is Kentucky in the SEC?
Yes.
28 straight SEC
I was going to say,
isn't like 47 out of 49 wins?
They lost to Alabama. They had a perfect regular season. They were ranked number 1 last year. They lost to Alabama, and that was it.
Yep. In
the conference championship game. So the conference championship game fucked them any chance to play Michigan.
Yeah. Right. Well, what did Alabama do?
Well, Alabama lost. We know what Alabama did.
Oh, that's
but
right.
I'm just saying, Georgia would have loved to have a chance.
Did you tell everybody you turned this into a sports podcast?
I get out of here.
Sports every day. This is great.
This is normal.
I do this every day. And Tyreek Hill, I don't call that sports. That's bigger than sports. It's sports.
You're reading,
whatever. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got Zach Ford.
Tubby, bye-bye.
Yeah. They got a little drama over there, like Maz unfriending Kennedy because of something he was mad about, which he can't quite remember, but he does remember, actually. We're not supposed to talk about it. Or when Kennedy drove off in a pre-loved sweet whip from our guy Joe, while Maz could only watch helplessly from across the showroom floor, overflowing with jealousy. Oh, ugly. But here's some drama that could put cold, hard cash in your pocket. They do have some great deals, honestly. I'm not kidding. All you Jeep owners, right now when you trade in your dusty old Jeep for the all-new badass Ford Bronco, you get extra $2,000 in cash from Zott Ford and Holly. Imagine cruising home in the most technologically advanced SUV in the D, a brand new Ford Bronco with an extra $2,000 in your pocket and putting a big fat smile on your face. Or if you'd rather save the drama for your mama's Zott's early bird pull-ahead program, that could be just for you for a limited time. People always talk about pull-aheads, but if they're not giving you money, it's really pointless. You just pay the money over time, right? Mm-hmm. They're offering $4,000 of your current lease to pay up to $4,000 of your current lease payments to get you out of your lease early. That is a pull-ahead with no penalty into a brand new Ford. Call for details. See Zott's exquisite inventory at